Hello, friends. I am Rev John McLean, and it is the delight of my life that I get to be with you. For those who are at Unity of Verde Valley, I say good welcome to you. And for those folks that will be able to see this because of social media, we offer you a warm welcome as well. Today, what I would like to talk about is one of the 12 powers in our continuing series about the 12 powers. But as I was thinking about this, I do clearly remember that when I first came into a New Thought church, into the New Thought philosophy, I think that I was so relieved to know that there was not a God that was mad at me anymore, or that by nature I was a sinner and bad and wrong, or that this God may love me unconditionally, but then, he might change his mind and either damn me to hell or flood the earth or any other number of crazy things. I was so relieved to find that in a teaching that honored both my own heritage, my heart, and my mind, that I simply allowed that to wash over me for a long time. And when I say a long time, I mean years, like 5 years, before I decided to put any of it into practice. Now, practice is the only place where growth happens. So we know that. And we know that I'm always going to encourage you to be in your practice, quote unquote, at all times. And that we're so fortunate to be in this truth teaching that we call unity, that we actually have a way of working all of life's events, no matter what. We have a way of working. Well, one of those ways of working is through the 5 basic principles, which is a statement of faith in a way, but it is a way of working, of being in the world, of being effective and gracious in the world. And another basic unity teaching is what's called the 12 powers. So we started a couple of weeks ago talking about the 12 powers, and we spoke about faith. We spoke about faith. I don't know if I gave an introduction to it, though. It was based on a book that Charles Fillmore wrote and was published in 1930. 1930 was sort of towards the end of Charles Fillmore's ministry. He passed in 1946. The first book published by Unity was Lessons in Truth by Emily Cady, and that was published, I think, in 1892. So 1930 is sort of late in Charles Fillmore's work life. Where he came up with an idea of 12 powers, I don't think anybody's 100% sure. He read widely in religion. He knew about other traditions. He studied theosophy, which was really popular and influential body of work that came out of Europe and was in America. The Smart Set fully embraced theosophy. And it's there that he may have learned more about Eastern religion and the chakras in the body relative to the Hindu system. He may have been influenced by his teacher, Emma Curtis Hopkins, who wrote a book on the 12 jewels of consciousness. I think that was in Scientific Christian Practice. And where she had a jewel, like a literal jewel, diamond, ruby, emerald, that kind of thing, that was signifying or emblematic of some aspect of soul, and then there was a corresponding apostle. So Charles Fillmore was probably influenced by that. But he found it meaningful, he found it helpful, he found it an effective way of working, and so it is offered to us, again, through this original book, The 12 Powers of Man. There have been a few other Unity ministers that have written books about the 12 powers and how to use them. And for the purpose of this series, I am relying on Reverend William Warch, who wrote Your 12 Powers, 12 Gifts from God, and How to Use Them. And so we've got a definition now. I'm going to talk about judgment today. Judgment. And this is what he has to say about judgment. He writes that judgment is my ability to discern, to evaluate, and make decisions. Judgment allows divine wisdom to flow through me. Those are worth repeating. So I'm going to say it again. Judgment is my ability to discern, to evaluate, and make decisions. Judgment allows divine wisdom to flow through me. Now, some of us may be very familiar with the Bible, and some of us not so much, but I bet you most of us have heard this quotation from Scripture. And yes, I'm going to read this too, so I make sure I say it correctly. It's from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 7. And the teaching is, Judge not, lest ye be judged. For with what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged. And with what measure ye mete, it shall be measured to you again. Now, when we say judge not lest ye be judged, I don't think it's abrogating the responsibility to be present and mindful in situations. I think this is probably a reframing of the golden rule, right? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. If you have harsh opinions about everybody you meet, chances are they're going to have harsh opinions about you. And if you've got opinions about what somebody should do with their life, no doubt you're going to hear from them about what you should do with yours. Etc., etc., etc. And we are all living in a time which for many of us is becoming a little exhausting. And that we have more outlets to share our outrage about all kinds of things in the public forum, and even things that are private are judged in public. Two of the things we seem to talk about relentlessly in this culture are marriage equality and a woman's right to have sovereignty over her own body. And it sounds facetious to say, but if we're using good judgment, it's like, if you don't think gay people should be married, then don't marry one. It's not that complicated. And yet we feel that it's somehow our prerogative to mind everybody's business. I really don't know what worldview this comes from. Thomas Jefferson wrote something a long time ago. Obviously, he died 200 years ago. But it was something to the effect is that it does me no injury if my neighbor says there are 20 gods or no God. It neither picks my pocket nor breaks my leg. Yeah, whatever opinion you have, knock yourself out. Go, sure, great. But I don't have to subscribe to every random thought that you have. There are many expressions of life on this planet. And what I think even the gospel teaching is offering us, in a nice way, it's saying, mind your own business. Mind your own business. Dedicate your resources to what you have going on in your life. And that implies two things. That means don't be taking your neighbor's inventory. That's none of your business. And be busy working your own life, healing your own life, dealing with what you need to be doing. For the love of God, please handle your business. When we handle our business, when we are confronted with something that's particular to us, we know that jumping to conclusions is never a good idea. Never a good idea. And to bring to judgment any situation, challenge, or experience. When we bring to I'm in the book again. When we bring to judgment what I want to be doing, what is really skillful, is for me to create enough time and spaciousness to discern, to evaluate, and to make decisions. All outcomes are based on decisions we make. All outcomes are based on decisions we make about our life. And also in that spaciousness, there just might be some divine wisdom that will be able to find foothold in your everyday awareness. One of these experiences and challenges that we all share at one time or another in our lives is our own health, for example. To reclaim our full authority for our wellness and wholeness is something that I encourage myself and everybody to do. If and when on the occasion that we get a diagnosis, perhaps, that we're not prepared for, thoughtful consideration, I truly believe, is part of the healing process and helps us absolutely reclaim our wellness. Get this diagnosis, doctor says this, say, okay, great. Wait a minute. Bring all things to judgment. Taking a day almost always won't make any difference. What more do I need to know about this? What's my role here? What are my responsibilities? What might I start doing? What might I stop doing? All too often I have found in the hundreds of people that I've had the privilege of praying with and dealing with in hospital situations. Well, doctor says this, I did this, and it didn't work. To create an environment, a spiritual environment, which promotes healing, might lead you to make additional choices. What other tools are available to me to facilitate the healing that I'm desiring? Again, jumping to conclusions or making a fast judgment just because somebody who's an authority figure said to do this and don't ask me any questions is not the best thing to do. And on the other end of the spectrum, when we were all 17 years old, and we thought, well, just because it's a bad idea doesn't mean it won't be fun. We might have used some judgment then, just saying. But we are adults now. And I know I want to, and I affirm for you that you want to, is always be in a position where we are aware of and claiming our wholeness, our independence, our power in every situation. Judgment allows us to do that, to enter into a discernment process, however that looks for you. However that looks for you. And forget about what everybody else is telling you what to do. You bring your judgment to bear on this situation. Your health, your finances, your relationships, work life, whatever it is, because each one of us is the primary creative force in our lives. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, there's a construct that I have used profitably for myself. And because it has worked for me, I feel free to share it. And this construct for me is in the face of any decision I'm going to make, any big decision, for me personally, or when I had larger church, when I was thinking about something that was maybe wanting to happen, I would always ask myself this question. Does it serve my health and my wholeness? Or if it's an organization, does it serve the health and wholeness of the organization? But let's refocus on yourself. Does it serve my health and wholeness? Does it diminish the life experience of another? Now, this may seem so simple, it may seem facetious to you, and it's not. It's really not. But to use a very simple example, should I go on vacation? Well, does vacation serve my health and wholeness? Absolutely. Does a vacation, what's my other criteria? Does my vacation diminish the experience of another? No. So let's go on vacation. However, this vacation happens to cost $17,000. And I don't have $17,000. So does it serve my health and my wholeness to go into debt at this point? Does it diminish the experience of another? Well, if I can't pay my mortgage, I guess it does. You see, you can bring this into judgment for every minor thing and every major thing. And it will always hold true as a great construct, a great criteria. Even to the extent that I understand myself to be part of all of creation. There's only one thing happening in its life. That I will make decisions. When I was doing some landscaping out my window here, does this diminish the experience of the creek? Does it take away the life of the animal life that has flourished in this little creek? For the last, always there are implications. There are always implications. So, I invite you, like it says somewhere else in the Bible, to judge with righteous judgment. Yes, but do it. It is almost a commandment. If not a commandment, it's a demandment. It's a positive commandment. To whatever it is not only your prerogative, but it's an imperative to bring all situations and all texts to judgment, which is what the Buddha said. Don't believe anything because I say it, or it is written. Bring all texts to judgment. And then discover for yourself what the life-enhancing aspect of this is. and how it's going to positively or negatively impact the outcome that you want to see. We have this ability. What God gave it to us, I don't know. But when we're on the other side, we'll learn more about that, I'm sure. But it is a competency and a capacity of soul that we all have, and it is one of the 12 powers that we are not only able but always encouraged to use. So, let us conclude this with prayer, and I'm going to close my eyes so I'm not distracted by the beautiful aspen leaves that have turned yellow the last couple of days, and they're beautiful on a beautiful autumn day. And to know that, yes, judgment is something that not only can I do, but I must do. And in that must do column, it is probably wise for me to withdraw all judgment about what I think other people must do, and to move that back to my column. What must I do? To discern, to ponder, to consider, and then bravely to make choices. No doubt, when we are in command of these 12 powers, any one or all of them, no doubt they add to the vitality and the skillful means that we have as a way of being in this world. Even Jesus says, be in this world, but not of the negativity, not of the criticism, but be in this world powerfully, with faith, strength, and judgment, and all those other qualities that we'll talk about in the future. And in this we are reminded that I guess we are made in the image and likeness of a God that wants a world that works for all and wants us to be happy. So I claim this is the truth, I'm complete with it, and I have no quarrel with any of these ideas at any level of my being, but I embrace it wholly and with gratitude. And together the people said, amen to that. And of course, you know I am looking forward to seeing you next time. I do hope that some part of this has been interesting or beneficial to you and useful in some way. And I will see you next time. Take care.